Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, are we sitting to get more closely together or something? Because you nearly punched me when you opened that.
The cork had, I don't know, a lot of, I don't even know what a scientific word behind that.
You've been giving him very little in terms of what's happening here. Speaking of giving for someone very little, what are we? We're just going to look at it and imagine that there's something in our glass, are we? What are we having tonight, Edge?
We are having an Old Forester Statesman, Dave. It's got
great. Oh, it's smelling good already.
You can't even see it, but it's got a normal Old Forester bottle, but a beautiful Statesman written underneath it. I really can't.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Don't try to get the focus on it. Let's cheers instead so we can get stuck into it.
Old Forester Statesman.
All right, we've been to Old Forester in like the Distillery experience in Louisville.
We have.
And we've spoken about it before.
It was wonderful.
What's your favourite thing about? Oh my goodness, this is smelling good already.
You got it right to your nose. And
What are you getting on the nose?
oh, yum.
I'm getting banana lollies, but not that kind of like crazy intense howler head banana lollies, but like lovely sticky sweetness kind of
I'm feeling that like, this is going to sound weird, but like, you know, that chopping board smell before you put out lots of yummy fruit and like it's like
You just mean chopping board? It smells like a chopping board.
I know, like when you're putting together a chopping board, and it's like you get the chopping board, like that woody smell, but then you've got all the dried fruit and the cheese and that's what it makes me think of.
I haven't spent much time putting together a chopping board.
No, like a platter.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'm not
I
making
get
much
it.
sense
But it smells like the wood?
Well, it's got that woody smell, but like also fruity to me. Like that's just the memory it gave me. Was like instantly like that nice wooden chopping board with the fresh dried fruit and cheese and.
The more I'm kind of like getting air on it, I am getting a lot more wood on it as well. So where do we begin? Old Forester. Why is it only spelt with one R?
Oh, because they changed his name at one point out of respect. They dropped one of the R's. Is that right?
Do you remember why it was?
No.
It's because he died. Out of respect for him dying, they got rid of one of the R's from his name.
There you go.
Dr. Forester, is that right?
Yes, yeah, he was a doctor because they stayed open during Prohibition.
This
they
is
had,
before that as well, yeah.
Yeah, but when he died, they dropped an R from the name and now it's Old Forester.
It was the first ever bottled bourbon and they talk a lot about that. But Old Forester is one of my favourite expressions. Can I let you in on a secret about this expression of Old Forester?
The Statesman one?
Mm.
Yes, tell me.
I think it's my least favourite.
Oh, least favourite bourbon or least favourite out of the Old Forester collection?
Oh, least favourite out of Old Forester.
Oh, why is that? Because Old Forester is so good. They're very desserty. This, to nose, has more of a, like I said, a woody, not as much of a desserty.
Stop just smelling it. Could you taste a bit, please? Because this is the reason, and I think you're going to say out loud what my experience of it is, which is what's that experience for you in your mouth? How are you finding that when you drink that?
It tastes nice, but it feels weird. Like,
yeah,
not weird. It definitely leaves like it's not smooth.
What does it give? What's it feel like?
I don't know. Like it's that woody sort of feeling, like that expression I say when I feel like I've licked the barrel. It's like,
okay.
I don't think you would lick a barrel, but not like it's not. It tastes nice, but just it leaves that different feeling in your mouth.
It's a bit thin. To me, it has a little bit of a burn on it that is a bit unusual actually for Old Forester certainly. But bourbons we drink all sorts of bourbons and expensive and inexpensive ones. To me, the drinking experience is my least favourite thing. I agree with you, the flavour's pretty good.
But Old Forester is one of my favourites. But that is, like, that's different. That's not as desserty as how I would describe it. Not as desserty as some of the others.
Who talks about it? Someone talks about this thing of bourbon was... I reckon it was Maker's Mark. I reckon it's Maker's Mark. They were first started talking about it, that Maker's Mark was they were trying to interrupt the idea that bourbon was supposed to make you feel like a cowboy and feel tough when you drank it because of how it hurt you when it went down. Yeah, but I feel like this has got a little... I mean, I'm sure it's not as rough as the
But that
old
kind of
bourbons,
adds to the statesman side of it, like...
Right.
Didn't you say it had something to do with came out at the same time as the Kingsman movie?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of
Or
whether
you're
or
just making
not.
stuff up?
No. It is. It's inspired by the Kingsman movie.
I love those
And
movies.
can I tell you a little bit about it? Because it's made from the barrels that are at the top part of the rick house.
Yeah.
So that's the way they make this expression. 95 proof, so that's 47.5% or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And that's how they make it. So it's the highest part, which means theoretically, right, it ages the quickest.
Quickest. Maybe that's why it's got that little bit of a rough edge on it.
Maybe it hasn't had enough time to kind of like have that slightly more mellow.
Describe
kind
it
of
as the
thing going
delicious Old Forester taste with a little bit of a rough edge on it. The Statesman. There you go.
It definitely still has that carameliness and all that kind of stuff, and it's picked up some awards and stuff. It's not that I don't like it, but it's just
You prefer the gentler, smoother ones rather than ones that make you feel like a cowboy.
I mean, I'm kind of not really going for the cowboy thing.
Yeah.
But
some people might be.
You asked me, is that one you can get in Australia?
Yeah.
I reckon it's probably the easiest Old Forester to get.
Oh.
In Australia, in my view at least. I could be wrong.
Maybe
we just have a glut of it or something, but I feel like you can see it everywhere.
I do love the dessertiness of an Old Forester range, but this would be on the end of the non-desserty end of the ones I've had, because I love Old Forester.
There definitely, to me, though, is still that sweetness. It's kind of like I don't know, almost like cinnamon vanilla-y, almost donutiness or something to it. But it's just, I don't even know.
Dried fruit.
Is it like a thin? It's like a thin finish. You know how sometimes it's like
it doesn't
syrupy,
leave that creamy,
coats your
thick,
mouth. Yeah.
smooth coat. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more of you definitely get that little woody flavour, which is nice, but not. I prefer the desserty rich ones.
If the Aussie bourbon fans who are tuning in want to experience some Old Forester goodness and some of the other expressions as well, what can
try
they
them
do?
all.
What can they do when they go to Kentucky?
What can they do? They can start by going to Kentucky, go and do a tour at the distillery. You get to see them light things on fire, and
One of the coolest, like the most Disneyland of the.
You really got to experience like them putting the barrel together, and they lit it all up, and then.
Well, there's a real Cooper who works upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like some of the others, they talk about that stuff and they show you bits of wood or barrels and tell you. But at Old Forester, they show you that stuff, which I really loved. And you got to go down and look at is it the charcoal that they strain it all through and
That's just dumping. They don't strain it through
dump
charcoal.
it. Yeah. But as in you got to see all of that like kind of messiness, I suppose, that's behind the scenes. Which is,
I really
and
thought
they sell
you would-
great T-shirts too.
Yeah, I knew you'd get to T-shirts, but there's another part of the
my
story you
favourite.
haven't taken us to about Old Forester.
Oh, which one, Dave?
I feel like it's low-hanging fruit for you.
Right. You can just tell us.
It's the Modeska.
Ah, yes. I love them. I think we talked about them most of the last one. So
I don't mind.
you want to talk about them again?
Well, you do, don't you?
No, I talked about them last time.
Okay. Well, so when you do the tour at Old Forester, it's not uncommon on a tour at a bourbon distillery that they'll have
They often do the tastings with lots of different yummy things.
a particular handmade chocolate that's kind of special to that distillery. And Old Forester have what they call a
favourite.
Modeska, which I don't think I've ever had anywhere else, ever. I think
kind
it's
of like
specific
a-
to that region.
Cross between a s'more and a chocolate and a caramel. It's like
Yeah, it's chewy, marshmallowy, caramelly, covered in chocolate.
Yeah.
And
it's delicious and it goes really well with Old Forester.
I just, as we've been talking about it, I've kind of been a little bit transported to that tasting
You
room.
are. When you were on one of your work trips and I wasn't there, I made you go back and get more, didn't I?
You did, actually. You did.
Came
In
back
fact,
with a few bags of chocolate in your
you've recently been trying to convince me to do another one of those work trips, and I've had to resist because you're so insistent about me going on this.
There was a conference so
Work
close.
trips. I know.
And you could have topped up our supply of the ones we can't get here.
What a remarkable problem we have. Amazing.
Terrible.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon Aussie bourbon triers should get out and get themselves a bottle of this just to try it? It's not
Yeah.
terribly expensive, maybe $60.
Yeah. It definitely is a good introduction, but if you like this, you're going to love the other Old Forester expressions.
And you can get the 80 proof Old Forester, which is in that kind of a stubbier bottle with a white label, which is really, that's now you're into the, what I think of as like real Old Forester.
Yeah.
And then you get through the other expressions.
But definitely give this one a go, especially if, you want to be a cowboy
Here's to Cowboys.
and statesman.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.